Well, that was a wonderful open mic, and we're all behind for our two amazing features. So welcome back. And we're going to start off. I'm going to introduce our first feature. Wendy Donawa calls Victoria home and is grateful to live on the unceded Lekwungen territory of the Songhees and Esquimalt Nations. Her prior life included 36 years in Barbados as a UWI student, a Barbados Community College instructor, and a Barbados Museum curator. Her first book, Thin Air of the Knowable, was shortlisted for the Raymond Souster Award and a finalist for the Gerald Lampert Memorial Award. Our Bodies Unanswered Questions was 1/4 of the 2021 Frontenac Quartet. It's a big deal. All right, please join me in welcoming Wendy Donawa to the stage.
You should put flat things to put. Thank you. Thank you, Marie. Isn't Marie Metaphor a perfect name for a poet? A couple of nights ago, I got an email from a friend who said, I found a quotation I think you might want to use. And lo and behold, I do. It was from Arlene Perret who sent it, and I always listen to Arlene. And the quotation is from Susan Sontag with her The Double Standard of Aging. And she says that women can let themselves age naturally and without embarrassment, actively protesting and disobeying the conventions that stem from this society's double standard about aging. Instead of being girls as long as possible, who then age humiliatingly into middle-aged women, they can become women much earlier and remain active adults, enjoying the long erotic career of which women are capable, far longer. Women should allow their faces to show the lives they have lived. Women should tell the truth.
Yeah.
Are you hearing me all right?
I can move it down a little bit.
Thank you. That's better. Thanks. That sensible planning ahead thing. On Thursday last, my love and I drove north to Sydney to prepay our cremations. Odd, you might think. And we did too, and sat in the parking lot laughing nervously. The day was fine. Light, salty breezes off the water, Magritte clouds dotting the sky. We congratulated ourselves that we'd done that sensible planning ahead thing. Enough parental dramas where nobody knew where the papers were, or claims from obscure nephews with bad hair and pocket protectors. We walked through the hardware store's garden supply yard, finally found the office, its large tortoiseshell cat presiding. The manager breezed in, wind-blown from her bike ride, our fears of Dickensian lugubriousness uncalled for. It was all as sensible as sorting potatoes. The cat mounted the desk and glared at us throughout. We knew glibness would be uncalled for. She gave us to-do lists and price lists and lists of all the people she'd call. It was entirely satisfactory, and the cat purred when we left. Then we felt slightly hysterical and went to a French bistro. We downed grilled cheese sandwiches dripping with Gruyere and caramelized onions. Stabilized over a bottle of Pinot Noir, and my true love said, well, the one who's left will know what to do. Then we cried again. Eros and Thanatos on our seesaw, she said, and we laughed. then took Highway 17 home into the rest of our lives. The time of falling apart. How is it that I, who careened merrily across 2 provinces, 3 mountain ranges to meet my lover, now avoid night driving, parallel parking? In pools of crystallizing snow, those sodden Gary oak leaves, I'm drawn to winter branches, their spareness, latency. If you look up past if you look up past the oak's roots, past its gnarled bark corrugations, its lichen armor, past its branches baroque skew, stub of an amputated limb in its cozy sleeve of moss, past a fretwork of twigs, you might fall up into the sky. The year's nights draw in, and veins of leaves close like blocked arteries, their barrier of thin-walled cells whose purpose it is to break down in autumn. As it approaches the time of falling apart, as it invites abscission, the separation of stem from leaf, of horn from skull, of claw, husk, also from those who renew themselves seasonally. Salamanders shed body parts to shun predation, or those who'd rather sacrifice a breast than yield it prey to a malignancy. Some years ago, at the Quetzal Cultural Center, an elder, a master carver, explained near final stages of a pole he'd made. Power, its carved and somber range of mythic predators. Before we left, he said to me quietly, "What is your predator?" Before we left, we held hands. He said a prayer. I'd just had my diagnosis 2 days before. I'm a dragon woman, born in a dragon year, and by the zodiac's account, I should be tenacious, confident, powerful, generous, lucky too. Should marry rat, monkey, or rooster. Sadly, this year's zodiac is less optimistic. I am opposed by Tai Sui, god of age, who foresees an overall lack of luck. The outlook for my health also unfortunate as I approach the time of falling apart. Some of my losses are careless rather than tragic. I lose my glasses before finding them on my head and have lost enough hearing to embarrass myself regularly. But what other deserters have left my memory palace? What of my keys, grocery lists, important dates, the name of that nice woman in the blue shirt, the best way through East Van, my favorite socks? Self-pruning. Fruit reduces its pull force, so it falls away easily. Energy is no longer required. The oak's twiggy black canopy engraves a wintry sky, all grisaille reflections over the inlet's glossy mirror, where doubled ducks confer cordially over the long V's of their contrails. This poem is after Ilya Kaminsky's poem, In a Time of Peace. Next day, there was nothing in the news. I know it was a Friday because my poetry group meets on Friday. Nice weather. The venerable maples doing their October act. Kids kicking through heaps of rustling leaves. Crows in the golden boughs making a racket. It's a pleasant road, and my windows face west so I can glimpse the sea, the surrounding hills, and on a clear day, the Olympics' icy peaks glisten. The road hums with traffic all day. It's also a path for wailing ambulances rushing over the Blue Bridge to the hospital. But this afternoon, just reading, we notice an unusual quiet. Then a thunderclap, boom, metallic clang. We think industrial accident and race to the window. Large-scale construction is constant here and accidents happen, although it is otherwise a pleasant street. A white BMW crumpled on the sidewalk, surrounded by 3 large unmarked black vans, 8 or 10 men in riot gear, I guess, all padding with the cutlery of enforcement, like a noir movie. Folks from the co-op across the street stand on the stone wall with their phones out. We watch, others watch. Regulation police cars block traffic from either end of our pleasant street, while cops shout at the driver, then more crashing noises and sounds like gunshots as they wrench the door off, swing and fling a young man out, reminding me of rough schoolyard games when 4 of us would swing a classmate back and forth. But we didn't sling them on the ground as these cops do. So he slides across the pavement on his belly and lies perfectly still as though sunbathing. They kneel prayer style around him, or are they kneeling on him? We're uphill from them and cannot say for sure. Then his leg twitches and they shout again, and he wails, no, 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 and begins to move, and they prop him up on the bus stop bench nearby. Things are quieter then, but they keep talking and he keeps crying. Then they're spraying him with something, exactly like I spray my hair with Dove Style and Care hairspray. Did I mention the young man is black? Did I mention the cops are not? They put him in an unmarked van and drive away. Another unmarked van drives up and men leap out with brooms and buckets, sweep up all the broken glass and debris like manic housewives. The cop cars at the road's end unblocks traffic, which soon resumes. A tow truck disappears the smashed car. On the boulevard, golden maple leaves somersault in the evening breeze. I'm in time to meet my poetry group at the Thai restaurant, and the conversation is all about copyright, if I remember rightly. I order pad Thai, but do not enjoy it. Does his mother wonder why he's late? Put his dinner in the oven to stay warm? I'll finish with a short one. One day, one of us. I sometimes wonder if I dreamed climbing that stairwell. Its 3-floor glass wall black with night, where outside bamboo plantings, their green blades metallic under night lights that swished and scritched the panes. I climbed, your steps slowed, descending, distant cleaners rattling their trolleys. I hardly knew you. Inexplicable, We must have found words, an enchantment, our students long dispersed, someone distant calling to someone who has the damn keys. And if we'd known the coming chaos, would I have not fallen out of my world? Would I have not said, I packed my toothbrush? Would I have not fallen into your arms all these years, although I know that one day one of us will wake reaching across an empty bed before we remember. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wendy. All right, we have another feature for you tonight. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Délani Valin. Delani is a neurodivergent and Métis with Nehiyaw, Saulteaux, and French Canadian and Czech ancestry, and lives on the traditional and unceded Nunimux territory of the Nanaimo, BC. She studies for her master's in professional communications at Royal Roads University and has a BA in creative writing from Vancouver Island University. Her poetry has been awarded the Malahat Review's Long Poem Prize and subTerrain's Lush Triumphant Award. Her work has appeared in PRISM International, Adbusters, Room, and in the anthologies Those Who Make Us and Bawaajigan. She is on the editorial board of 2 literary journals, Room and The Malahat Review. A big deal. Her debut collection, Shapeshifters, was recently shortlisted for both the Indigenous Voices Award for Poetry in English and the Gerald Lampert Memorial Award for the Best First Book of Poetry in Canada 2023. So let's give it up for Delani and warm up the stage with some applause.
Good. Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed listening to the range of voices, and it's so heartening to be in such a warm space that embraces poetry. So I've just been having a fantastic night. Thank you so much for coming. I'm going to read from my book Shapeshifters, which unfortunately, because of a mix-up, I wasn't able to get physical copies. You can order it online. You can also just chat with me about it after and, you know, give me your feedback. I'm open. I'm going to start with a poem that I wrote because I was kind of feeling a little feisty about capitalism, but also the ways that, like, you know, as women, there's always these pressures from so many different industries to purchase things and change ourselves and be a certain way. And even when it comes to just like wellness. So this one, it's called Wellness, and it's just, yeah, my little gripe about that. So wellness. To whom do we turn, we intractable malcontents, sip sick on whiskey or the brew of our own bloodstreams, undiagnosed, darting from doctor to doctor, knock, knock in a new office, another workup to do. I'm here for sadness and for the flapping of my hands when I'm scared and the way the sun glints off rooftop barbed wire like childhood cheekbone glitter, and the fluff white marshmallow dog that heeds his toddler before lapping at the lake. The light frames that emanate from apartment windows, each square expressing a resident's particulars, glaring white bulbs and microwaved meatloaf before sleep, blue flashing rerun Lenos and Lettermans and minty melatonins under tongues. The orange glow of dimmer switch dining room chandeliers presiding over tabletop family game nights. Gather round and see how healthy I am in my wrongness, how many hereditary disorders declared then dismissed as I calmly waver on my will to live. Every new pill a wager on whether nausea and joint pain and headaches caused by sentient weed whackers haunting my neighborhood will be worse than what plagues me. Is it any wonder why we turn ourselves over to the altar of wellness, swap white coat for green juices, the celery and spirulina hollow out my hydro bill? Use your cookie budget for organic strawberries, says my naturopath, who has misinterpreted my fatness for mindless misinformation. Cookies haven't graced my cupboards since indigestion, yet they're a more reliable tonic than Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina-scented candles and an Oprah-sanctioned sound bath. My prescription involves getting a better sleep and $400 worth of vitamins, a waltz through a crystal emporium, charcoal smoothies, and a ceremony seemingly swiped from an ancestor's dance. I scrape and borrow for seminars in which boho middle-class women rock out and rewild and implore me to connect with an inner child that smudges sage imported from endangered shrubs in Southern California. Hands pass over my back to center my energetic field, and the tea leaf reader tells me I will one day die. The lazy certainty of Assam settling in a porcelain cup. Cured cancer and Crohn's testimonials plaster a website for a masterclass on breathing as a chiropractor unveils the quantum mechanics that fix quadriplegia for a fee. A rose petal yoni steam might not combat chlamydia, but it could release toxins to reveal an inner goddess with good humor and a more robust immunity. Conspiracy theories proliferate. Perhaps my issues stem from that polio vaccine or a deficiency in coffee enemas, alkalized blood and hemp bed sheets. The yoga studio sighs an empty namaste while it sells pickle juice gut shots. What is wellness when what's valued is the wheat stalk standing to golden attention, relentlessly productive, ignoring its seasons unless going on a paid-for team-building retreat? I pace the carpet of my bedroom as I contemplate the prescriptions of Ritalin and Ativan stacked with B vitamins and zinc on top of my fridge, caught between paradigms. They overlap in their cost and disconnection, and what's wrong? 7 disorders, weak boundaries, and doubt. The sun pearls 1,000 water drops from a Malamute's back. His child master's laughter spirals into puberty and crackles in old age. Apartment tenants trade up to houses and down to suites. The cupboards exchange one sentimental mug for another. My face ages and my body rounds. My aloe vera sprouts a new shoot, green, living, and fragile. What is there to fix? I'm going to read a poem that I wrote for International Women's Day a couple of years ago, reflecting on women's labor. The essential. Linda, I heard you get up and start the beef brisket, the meat and gravy powder ready by 5. Do you ever think about time? I don't mean how it slows down on the job. It's how you heat your coffee thermos, that $3 Value Village vessel, heat and reheat, with no moment to sit and sip. Or the loud tick of your body clock guessing whether it's already first frost. People at work are hungry for something all day, and later you notice the full moon as you limp back to your truck. Nice night, you say, and Tammy tells you to keep out of trouble, and it also means love you. What is essential? Coming home and caring for your mother who smiles at cowboy show reruns and cacti, feeding the cats, keeping coughs to a minimum, or else the old remedies come out. Have you heard how a garlic clove cures an earache? Who knows? Had a good day? There are spaces within us that answer, backaches and blisters. We are hired for our skills, and we are hired for compulsory gratitude, a smile of normalcy, steadfast cheerfulness. You're very welcome. The 40-hour work week was designed to have angelic housewives concocting grocery lists and pot pies in the background. And now it's closer to the 9 to 9. Beep, beep, the brisket is tender, and there is always someone new in line. Being a parent can be a thankless gig, and feeding people and driving them around and delivering mail and teaching children and reversing mortgages and treating sick dogs and harvesting lentils and repairing the road is thanked with Facebook posts, pizza Fridays, and poems. Yeah. Clock in, clock out. May you have more than a moment. Tacit. There are no safe spaces. There never were. Our mothers whispered their woes to the wainscoting, washed a dull, spotless white. We're tired. There's no end to the leering in the streets, no matter where we shroud, no matter whether we shroud our bodies, speak dulcet thanks, hiss, whether we meet those thirsting eyes, blue, brown, hazel green, any remind us to shrink into obedience. Join me in the periphery, hide in the forgotten harbors on the fringes of reality. Picnics on the yellowed grass bordering transnational highways, night jogs on still warm airport runways, naps in the elevator shaft just beyond the boardroom. Come and fade from the endless grasping, the compliments, the catcalls, the violence. The next few I'm going to read are from this idea that I had that I was going to take mascots that were like well known. These are like the people who haunt the house within the cereal boxes, and they're in the cupboards and they're on TV, and they're those corporate mascots that are always smiling and cheerful and never have their own voice. And so I decided to write poems from their perspective to see like how maybe they would actually feel about some of their roles. So the first one is the Starbucks siren. Starbucks. I used to sink southern ships with the flick of a fin, watched old whaling captains lock themselves in their chambers. I followed the wrecks, swam down to comfort sailors, stroked their black algae hair as they succumbed to stillness. The water warmed, it scalded skin and scale. Corals caved to acid. I found the whales humming, high-pitched like kettles. We swam past rusting tankers spewing waste and garbage barges trapping seagulls in plastic rings. Tangled and squirming, they hoisted me into harbor. Held down, examined, probed, I was brought to Pike Place to become a fish-tossed mascot. I sometimes stare at the sea to look at the floating paper cups. Barbie. The paparazzi says I shouldn't exist. I'm a waifish waste of a woman whose organs couldn't possibly fit behind my ribs. They thought my silence was suspicious, but back in my day, it wasn't chic to speak. Ken said, hell, you're as big and bitchy as any woman I've ever met. They call him a silver fox now. It's a masculine noun, meaning usually divorcee, graying male, celebrity, cast opposite a woman under 30. And me, oh, no silver in sight. I bleach my roots every 2 weeks, take the Botox shot between the rhino and labiaplasty. Some say I look good for nearly 60 as long as I keep my convertible top up and stay tucked, mouth shut in my dream house. Betty Crocker. I know what you're thinking, so go ahead. Indict me for carving myself into my kitchen. Impeach the blank calendar hanging on my fridge. I closed my curtains years ago, cut out my coupons, kept the chaos away by keeping my family full. I did what I could, and I do what I can with these standards I cannot stand. You want quick, super moist, easy. Now, is that a woman or a cookie? If the question bothers you, close the kitchen door, crack an egg, find a chore. All right, one more from this series, Mrs. Clean. We never get to hear from Mrs. Clean. Yes, he cooks, he cleans, he writes grocery lists. But oh, how low the bar is set. I should be lucky, after all, most men aren't used to scrubbing a toilet. My husband's muscles bulge against the cotton of his skin-tight bleached t-shirt. I'm told he's ideal in every way. He won't touch me without wearing his yellow rubber gloves. Yet he plucks hairballs with bare hands from the neighbor's drain, mops and dusts and who knows what. I'll spike his club soda with lemon and Clorox. Watch his bald ass magic erase that. All right. This one's called The Giantess. The day she stopped shrinking her shoulders in the 99 B-line bus seat, she shot up 1,500 feet. Her head tore through the roof of the bus. She brushed metal debris out of her hair. A mangled emergency exit clattered to the asphalt. Pedestrians scurried for shelter and cars fled like rats between her thundering footsteps. Her boyfriend clung to her white writhing shoelace. He managed to hold on until she noticed him screaming. She paused at a playground and picked him up by the neck of his H&M shirt. She set him on a swing and flicked his seat. He soared skyward. Finally, she'd made good on his request to give him the ride of his life. She trampled on through the city. A blink of silk ribbon lashes swept crows and gulls from her eyes. She caught sight of the sea. Running, she shook the maze of glass buildings behind her. The water was cold, but she didn't hesitate to plunge in. Swam, capsized ships with swells that swallowed the shore. She smiled, spun onto her back, floated. She became a landmass, grew forests on the convex curve of her belly. Thank you.